Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Normal here, and in this video we're going to do a comparison of two mid-range phones with the 18:9 aspect ratio display, the Vivo V7 with the Gionee M7 Power. So these two phones have the latest trend, the 18:9 aspect ratio, but the display size is different, so the specifications are different. The pricing is also again different. We have Vivo V7 priced 18,990 while the Gionee M7 Power is priced 16,999. So in this video we will compare all the aspects of these two phones and see which is the better value for money device in this price segment. So without any further delay, let's get started. So first up, let's have a look at the design and build quality. So design wise, you can see both these devices come with the newest trend, that's the 18:9 aspect ratio display, but the screen size is different. Hence the Vivo V7 is a bit compact device, while the Gionee M7 Power feels a bit bulky at 6-inch screen size, while the Vivo V7 has just a 5.7 inch screen size. Now looking at the design aspect, you can also see that the Vivo V7 is a slimmer and a sleeker design, while on the other hand the Gionee M7 Power feels a bit bulky. So design aspect, we would give it to the Vivo V7 because it's a compact device, but if you're looking for a large screen device, then the Gionee M7 Power makes better sense. But now talking about the build quality, this is one area where the Gionee M7 feels slightly more sturdy because it's a metal chassis, metal rear panel, but we have a plastic build quality on the Vivo V7. So in terms of the build quality, we feel the Gionee M7 Power is a bit more sturdier than the Vivo V7. Next up, let's talk about the displays. So both these devices come with HD plus resolution display, that's 1440 by 720p display, and both have the 18:9 aspect ratio, but we have a 5.7 inch screen size on the Vivo V7 while we have a 6 inches screen size on the Gionee M7 Power. Now looking at the display quality, you can see that both these devices have pretty good display quality. The viewing angles are pretty good, the colors are punchy, and the overall touch response also feels pretty smooth. Now both these devices have 2.5D glass as well. So we feel the display on both the devices are quite decent for this price segment, although we feel both should have had the HD plus full HD plus resolution display, but both are providing only HD plus. So that's the downside of these two devices, but looking at the display, both are quite similar and perform similar. So now let's talk about the software. So we have two custom UIs, the Vivo's Fun Touch OS versus the Amigo UI from Gionee. Now both the phones come with Android Nougat out of the box. We have Android 7.1.2 on the Vivo V7 while it's Android 7.1.1 on the Gionee M7 Power. So both these devices are custom UIs and does not have an app drawer. Instead they come with multiple home screens, and if you look at the settings panel, both provide a quite decent amount of features. We have dual app support on both the phones. Then the Vivo V7 offers smart split screen, super screenshot, app clone, then smart motion and support for themes, while on the other hand the Gionee M7 Power also provides some additional options like app clone, smart eye protection, smart gestures, customization, navigational buttons. So both these devices look quite good in terms of software features being offered. So our choice personally would be the Vivo's Fun Touch OS, which feels a bit more polished than the Gionee's Amigo UI. So these two devices does perform decently well in terms of the software. Now talking about the performance, so we have two Snapdragon chipsets in the 400 series, the Snapdragon 450 octa-core chipset on the Vivo V7 with 4GB RAM and 32GB storage. Gionee M7 Power running on the Snapdragon 435 octa-core chipset coupled with 4GB RAM, we get 64GB storage. So looking at the performance, we feel the Snapdragon 450 definitely has an edge over the Snapdragon 435. The 450 is definitely a slightly more powerful chipset, and also it is almost similar to the Snapdragon 625 in terms of the performance, but we feel both these devices should have had a better chipset, at least this price segment, be above the 15K price segment. It should have been the 600 series, not the 400 series. But talking about the comparative performance, we feel the Vivo's Snapdragon 450 offers slightly better performance even in the gaming experience and overall day-to-day performance. So both these devices are quite good in terms of the performance, but we would pick the Vivo V7 because it has a superior chipset. Now both the phones come with 4GB RAM, we get 32GB storage on the Vivo V7 while we get 64GB storage on the Gionee M7 Power. So both have SD card slot as well. Now the call quality and speaker performance looks quite decent on both the phones. See, both devices have speakers mounted at the bottom panel and a decent job altogether. So that was the speaker performance. Now let's talk about the fingerprint scanner. So fingerprint scanner is located on the rear panel on both the phones. You can see that fingerprint scanner on the rear panel, and here we feel the Vivo V7 is slightly faster than the Gionee M7 Power. Next up, let's talk about the cameras. So we have a 16 megapixel primary camera on the Vivo V7, while we have a 13 megapixel primary camera on the Gionee M7 Power. Both come with an LED flash. And on the front panel, we have a massive 24 megapixel selfie camera on the V7, while we have 8 megapixel shooter on the Gionee M7 Power. So now let's have a look at the camera samples taken with these two devices. So here you can see that in terms of the daylight conditions, the rear camera performed quite well on both the phones, very similar in terms of the performance, but we feel the Vivo V7 definitely has an edge in terms of the overall performance, the clarity and the overall sharpness levels, and the colors was slightly better than the Gionee M7 Power on the Vivo V7. But there isn't much of a difference on both the phones, but when it comes to low light performance, we feel the Vivo V7 definitely has an edge. So these are some of the samples which we have taken with these two devices. Now next up, the selfie performance. Here we feel the Vivo V7 has a clear edge with a better selfie experience, and both the cameras do have this bokeh mode via software processing, and the Vivo V7 does a really good job in terms of the bokehs, while the Gionee M7 Power bokehs was not very accurate and the edges were not really good. So again, in terms of camera performance, both the rear and front camera, we feel the Vivo V7 definitely has an edge. Finally, the battery performance. So we have a 3000 mAh battery on the Vivo V7, and we have a 5000 capacity massive battery on the Gionee M7 Power. So advantage is for the Gionee M7 Power, where you can get almost more than 1.5 days of battery life, while on the Vivo V7 you can easily get 1 day of battery life. Now additionally, the Gionee M7 Power can also be used as a power bank to charge other devices. So that's an added feature. So now summing up, we have talked about almost all aspects of these two phones. So which is the better device to buy here? It's a tough choice because neither of them are really powerful in terms of specifications. So if you want, if you are more concentrating on the camera aspect, then camera and looks, probably Vivo V7 makes sense. But if you are a person who wants a better battery life and sturdy metallic construction, then go for the Gionee M7 Power. The Gionee M7 Power also comes at a slightly cheaper cost, and 64GB storage is offered. The Vivo V7 offers only 32GB storage. So based on your preferences, you can choose one of these devices, but we feel that there are better devices in this price segment. So we suggest our viewers to have a look at the other options like the Honor 9i and the Moto G5 Plus or the Xiaomi Mi A1, which offers slightly better value for money. So that's all guys, with the detailed comparison of the Vivo V7 with the Gionee M7 Power. So that's it guys for this video. We'll share the link in the description of this video. So this is Nirmal signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.